Hello and welcome to a action figure review by Figure Motions. Today we are going to be reviewing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action figures. I bought these off of Amazon and let's get started. So out of the blue, we can already see that the packaging isn't very professional. I mean, it's off of Amazon, so what would you expect? And the action figures look like they're wrapped in plastic. So let's open them up and see how they look like. So there we got it. We opened it. So far the figures look pretty promising. It was pretty hard to get the plastic out of the figures, but we opened it. Now let's open the figures and see what they got. So we got the Ninja Turtles out of the plastic, and there's actually another layer of plastic before they get out. And as you can see here, Donatello's plastic is already ripped open and his head is ripped off. So maybe that's a disadvantage. Now let's open the thing, right? So we got the action figures out and I managed to get Donatello's head back. It was pretty hard, but it was pretty good. If you want, it might take a big amount of force to put it back on, but if you're a big guy, then it's no problems. As you can see, they only brought their weapons. So Donatello came with his stick, Raphael, and his two sides, Michelangelo and his nunchucks, and Leonardo with his two katanas. So actually, out of the blue, we can see that Raphael, Michelangelo, and Leonardo, they all came with twisted legs, which is kind of uncommon. So it's either the packaging was pretty rough or they just came like that. Now so far these action figures are looking pretty great, but they're also looking pretty fragile. So now let's get into the articulation. So we got the action figures to stand, and so far they're actually looking great. Unlike other big action figure sellers like Marvel Legends, Premium Bondi, and SH Figuarts, these do not come with hands. They only come with weapons. Now, as you can see here, they have little holes in their hands to put the weapons in it, of course, because what would you... Oh, hold up. That's actually kind of... Okay, we got it in. So that was kind of hard to put in. I recommend you put it from under to top other than top to bottom, because that kind of can hurt you since the plastic feels hard for me. Now they look pretty great. And the nunchuck, now you just saw that it can fall off, but like if you put it at a correct position, it's not going to fall off. See, I'm shaking it and it's not falling. Now let's try Raphael. Another key detail is, I'm sorry that you have to watch me take it off. Another key detail is they have little holes in them at the back of them so that you could put their weapons in. So yeah, this is pretty hard plastic, so you might want to readjust this. Maybe put it in hot water. I don't think hot water will work actually. So far, out of my strength, since I'm pretty weak, I could only get it through here. Alright, so that's another small detail, which is pretty cool, considering that these are $30 action figures. And now let's move on to Raphael. Raphael is Raphael, of course, and has two sides. Now, what you notice from Raphael and the other Ninja Turtles, let me put them close to you so that you can have a better look, is that Raphael has a more 1990-ish look, since he has a more darker skin color than the other three, since they have all basically lime green, but still, it's a pretty cool feature. And let's see if we can get his size in. So it's pretty hard to get his size in. I'm not gonna do it because I don't want to waste your guys' time with the size, but yeah, the holes, they look pretty small for the bottom of the side, as you can see there. Unless you got a lot of force, you might want to put a lot of force in there to put this Raphael sai into his hand. Now, just like Donatello, Raphael also comes with little holes in his behind the turtle shell to put the sais in. Now, that's actually a pretty cool feature, considering that they're from Amazon. Next, Leonardo, the leader of them all. Now, unlike Raphael's feature, where it was pretty hard for him to get the hands in, let's see if we can get Leonardo's hands in. Come back with you in a moment. Yay! Look at that! I got his sword, his katanas in. Now, out of the blue, they don't really have a lot of hard plastic on it, but it was pretty hard getting it in. Now, you do have to get it to look exactly like this so that you don't really have to force anything in. But for the second hand, it took some time for me to get it in. It was pretty hard, since from what I see, they both look the same, but I don't know why it would just take more. I also got Raphael sai in. They also have to be the same, and now that I learned that feature, they're actually pretty easy to do. Now, we have Michelangelo, one of a kind, of course. Now, unlike the others, he has nunchucks, which actually looks like which I actually probably not gonna know how to put it in. I'll find a way to put it in for you guys now. I got Michelangelo's hands in, but they have to be through the skinniest hole that you see. So basically right there in the middle. And you have to stick it in between those that small gap right there. So they don't have a lot of mobility since I put it in like that. If you want, you can try to put it in from the nunchuck itself, but I haven't tried that method yet, but it'll probably look cool. Now, since we got the weapons and all that stuff, let's see the articulation. Be back with you in a moment. Now, I gotta tell you, I don't think they're really capable of that much articulations, unlike Marvel Legends, Mafex, Sentinel, and SH Figuarts. But when I was taking off Michelangelo's nunchucks, I actually saw a piece of skin that chipped off. It's probably either a manufacturer error or it's like that. And also some of the paint is starting to chip off as well, which isn't really good of a flaw, to be honest. Now since we already have Michelangelo in, let's see his articulation. So head rotates full 360. There's head pivot, and there's not really that much of a up and down head rotation. Now up to the arms. The arms, they can do a T-pose if that's what you're looking for. They don't really turn that much. The hands, they can rotate, and it can go this high and this low. Same with the other arm. Now, before we move on to the legs, there's no ab crunch, because of the little armor thing. Now let's move on to the legs. The legs, they don't really have much articulation, I would say. The knee articulation goes up to that much. If they took off this part, wouldn't they take off this part from articulation? There isn't feet pivot or any feet movement. Now the movement you just saw was from the knee. Same with the other one. We're done with Mikey. Now 1990 Raphael. Let's see if he's any better. Same rotation from last time. Full 360 rotation. Arms go this far, this high, and this low. There's shoulder articulation. There is movement in the hands too. Same for the legs, unless this time they actually took off both pieces. So this is probably also a manufacturer error. So this time they both go to the same length. Also, no feet movement here and no feet movement here. Now these two are probably the same, and I don't want to waste your time checking the articulation, but I'm just going to speed through it and we'll get over with it. Now I figured this out with Donatello. Since his head just was already torn off from when the package arrived, he doesn't really have that good of head rotation. It's pretty hard to do head rotation. You can hear that little crackling too when I turned it, and it doesn't really go up and down. Now let's keep speed running. Alright, so now we're done with speed running, and let's give these little turtles a little show by giving them a little stop motion of their own and some poses. Now, these figures are good, but they're not as good as I felt like they would. I would rate these figures at least a 7 out of 10. Raphael would be the best figure out of these four. And if you want the figure, I'll show it on the screen right now. Thank you guys for watching, and please subscribe. See you in the next stop motion.